Hello everyone! Welcome to today's stream. I'm happy to say that because this is no longer getting pushed alongside TradingView's platform, I can increase the bit rate threefold. So, good news. And I might as well record a video idea here as well. Cool. No, that's not right. There we go. Okay, so we're going to talk about Bitcoin. Pretty cool call from our friend Kadaj the other day, expecting support off of the compression band on the daily chart. Looks like that is where we stalled out. Generally, you get stuck in your compression band when you're expecting lateral mean reversions. You can expect it for a variety of reasons. Generally, if your price is looking pretty strong, but you see active mean reversion occur when your pivot's broken, you can often see that stalling out in your compression period because you don't want, or rather the price doesn't want to see converse expansion, and the result is, well, you don't get expansion. It's nice. So looking here, you see our nice line of support. I do think we're probably going to test back up to 70,000. I think that's quite likely. My guess is going to see our mean reversion, which is not well defined on the daily chart as this is almost expired. But I do expect full compression before any significant move. Price should rise up, tag to the upside. From here, we can either start bouncing down, or we can see further rounds of compression with lateral mean reversion as the mean moves up to meet price, and our compression values all reach up into the higher numbers. Beautiful. Very nice and simple. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, because we do have some interesting things going on down here. We do have active bearish trend. However, we are essentially testing on that longest overexpanded period. I will mention that it is not a very clean signal because this is very clouded, right? This is not a connected solid plume from the bottom, which makes this less reliable. One thing we can do is go to a lower time frame to get rid of that clouding. 1-hour chart should be quite evocative. Very nice. See? Now, once you actually define, based on this nice, clean, solid, singular plume, you get much cleaner results, right? Where you see the active mean reversion, right? This expansion happens here, bounce off the CLCP, or excuse me, the longest overexpanded period. One solid, clean bounce. Then we see lateral mean reversion. Very clean. Price goes sideways. The mean comes down to meet price. I love it. So what do we expect next down here? Honestly, in the next day, we should just see further compression. After that, we should see expansion, the upside. Okay, again, retest to 70,000 I think is very likely. Let me take a look at any questions you all might have for me. Live stream questions. Let's take a look at silver. Wow, quite a bullish move here. Still wish I was holding from 2020. Saw this big dip here at $11, and I only held it up to 18. You know, I still saw a solid 70%, but it's gotten a lot higher since then. A lot of strength. You know, we have a very clean longest over expanded period that we can test off of. I will say that precious metals don't tend to significantly trend, maybe outside of like palladium. But that was, I wouldn't say bubbly, but you know, it had a lot of fundamental factors pushing price up like that. Silver over here, I wouldn't use longest over expanded period as a bounce point like so. I would actually look at it in terms of entering for mean reversion, where if we enter inside our longest over expanded period, you wait for the swing high on the CLCP, right? You sell on that swing high as soon as the CLCP forms, and you target it to the mean, right? So shorting from solid 15%. It's a clean play. Let's take a look at IBM, Internet Business Machines. Potentially seeing a new breakout, are we? Well, let's check the weekly. I'd like some better. Wow. Okay. I see. Do note I am not in touch with fundamental analysis. All I can do here is price analysis. And what I will say is we do appear to have a very clean breakout on the weekly chart with a well-defined LOXP. And we are bouncing off very close to that LOXP, right? Only up 5% so far from it. And if you have the fundamental analysis that states IBM should see further growth in the next quarter, I would bet for a new higher high. Right? Go for that solid 30%. Then your downside would be 8%. So 4-to-1 profit ratio. Very clean. Great chart. Great pick out there, Zealot. Next up, we'll take a look at Link. Okay, the one thing I can say here is we are kind of sitting at the price floor. And while I wouldn't call that a good signal, I would say it's safe for bag holders. Right? We saw our downward expansion, and now we're compressing from there. I would very much expect price to do nothing, at least for a month. You might retest higher highs. That's a big claim. Hold on. That's 100%. At least it's 150%, you know, if we actually retest all the way up there. Price, okay. Again, if you feel like being a bag holder for Link, I think it's a safe time to be a bag holder. If price starts to trickle down below our support, you're kind of screwed. Too bad, so sad. So, not the greatest play. You shouldn't see movement very quickly here. You know, but maybe some volatility returns you 100%. I mean, come on. Not clean. But, you know, go for it if you're into that kind of thing. Crystal Ball says, good afternoon. Could you please look at TON BTC, please? I would be happy to. Goodness gracious, a parabolic chart. Not quite. It's actually pretty well sustained. On the 4-hour, this should be quite clean. Yeah. Pretty cyclical. No new expansion for us to define at this time. I'm just not getting the scope of this. That's 10x, isn't it? 2x, excuse me. I misplaced a 0 here on the low side. Okay, so you have yourself pretty good definition on this upward move. It is looking slightly precarious as This is already tapered off, so we don't have a good defining condition in our higher time frames. Lower time frame, this held very well until its mean inversion. From where we entered a compressionary period, we had a new impulse to the upside, but it immediately mean inverted. And now we're trickling up with a bit of volatility overhead. So unless there's significant force behind price, you should not expect a significant move to follow. Obviously, this can still brute force its way upward, but that's generally not what I like to bet on when I'm looking at a chart. Take a look at palladium for Lynn again. I'd be happy to hear how that's working out for you. You've been asking about this coin for, excuse me, metal for 2-3 years now, haven't you? Back when, oh goodness. You were asking me all the way back here, 2021. It's very strong. Essentially thrown all that in the trash by now. 3 years, wow. It's not looking good. So when you have this kind of consolidation, generally you almost never expect immediate price recovery because you've generated a bunch of mass here. So the most you're going to get is a bump up into the volatility overhead before a failure, and then true compression can begin. And this bump isn't going to be well timed. It can happen anywhere along here. It does generally occur, but there is not a good price floor at this time. Next up, I want to take a look at PPD, as requested by Zealot. PPDD. Is this a coin? It is not. It is a stock. Okay. An upward trend. A very, very slow upward trend with no definable pivots. Maybe down here? Nope. It's just next mean inversion. I don't like to play this kind of chart. Like, you can have a slow upward trickle over the course of a year, but when I don't see enough volatility to find pivots for myself, I'm generally not willing to play it. Please get your final questions in. Hoorah USD. I don't think you're spelling that correctly, or I'm not smart. Up to you. You can guess. Mara. Wasn't Mara a coin? I swear to God, Mara's a coin. I'm not thinking about mana. Did you ever watch the Folding Ideas 2.5-hour documentary on coin mana? Okay, yeah, you are asking about a stock. Anyway, it was very, very elucidating, and he is very cynical on the front of crypto, but his breakdown of the actual product behind mana is hilarious. It's called The Future is a Dead Mall. I recommend watching it. Oh, uranium! Okay, yes. No, that would translate to me not being smart. Gotcha. Yeah, nobody's asked me to check that before. Oh, wow. This is an attractive chart. That is very slow and consistent movement. Well, problem with slow and consistent movement is if you've had it long enough, our indicators will define it as normal. And once you define upward movement as the status quo, you cannot define pivots because volatility is now registering as the norm. So the only thing we have to go off here is prior movement. It's very, very tight movement. Not seeing the volatility I would expect. That's hard to play. You know, if we just turn off the indicators, this is a very obvious chart for everyone else. Because all you have here is price goes up and you bet that it keeps going up. So I'm a very technical trader, and if I don't have the confluence that I expect, generally hard for me to play. Let's take a look at Mara. Weekly chart. Oh, it's quiet. Wow. Okay, I see what you like about this chart. That is absolute nonsensical compression. There is so much potential energy here. Looks like we have some, might have positive weighting on the daily chart. Yeah. Okay, so one thing I can say about this is here on the weekly, we have a lot of potential energy. And I'm talking like the most I've seen in the last couple months for a chart. And it's not even just an artifact from this crazy stuff, because that's over 100 candles ago. So this compression is registering off of recent price movement. You're probably going to need to hold the 2 years to get this to work, but if you have good fundamentals behind this company, I think it would be a good bet in terms of potential volatility. Let's take a look at Sony. That's a habit. I keep on typing in Bitcoin after everything I type. Sony is going up. Cool. Very hazy readings here on the weekly chart. Daily chart. Is this active mean aversion? It's not. This mean aversion is technically finished. Yeah, this is incredibly noisy. I'm not going to get a good signal out of this at all. And it was typically not in a good place here. Because when you see this nice parabolic move up and the initial consolidation, you will not see trend continuation. It's very, very rare to get trend continuation out of that. Generally, you see your dead cat bounce, and then from there, you either need to do one of two things: consolidate to restore potential energy, or continue downward. So I think your best case scenario here is probably maybe go sideways, maybe test the local high, but this needs to compress. All right, folks, this was a lovely live stream. I hope that was helpful. I will talk to you all next week, okay? You be good. Bye-bye.